So hello again. Tonight we're going to talk about Betelgeuse's little buddy. It doesn't have a formal name yet. There's a star that is in orbit around Betelgeuse, or paired orbit with Betelgeuse. So it's not the Betelgeuse from the movies. It's the star that's in the constellation Orion. It's the left shoulder star of Orion. It's about 500 light years from Earth. Some say 400, some say 600. I'll just split the difference and say about 500 light years. It is a red supergiant towards the end of its life, as in it's exhausted its hydrogen, helium, other elements, and it's heading towards iron, infusing that. And once it gets to iron, it will collapse and go supernova. But we've thought it should have gone supernova quite often. You know, it's taken its sweet time to do this. When they say it's going to happen any day now, I wouldn't hold my breath. So, but if you're not new to the Broward Astronomy YouTube channel, you probably knew all of that because I've mentioned the supernovas and the novas before. Recently, I saw that NASA has confirmed that Betelgeuse has a companion star, or as I like to refer to it, a little buddy. On the right is the picture, and I think it's a little bit false colored. That's the picture of the orange thing you see. That's Betelgeuse. And then the bluish blobby thing at about 8 o'clock, that is the companion star. So the companion star is referred to as a protostar. It has amassed enough gas and dust to be on the path to becoming a star, but it hasn't sufficiently compressed itself gravitationally to trigger nuclear fusion. So it's just a giant roiling ball of hydrogen and helium. It's thought of that the companion star won't become a real star, a switched on star, because it's being influenced by Betelgeuse. So I'm just going to refer to it as buddy rather than companion or protostar, but buddy. It's in a slightly elliptical orbit around Betelgeuse, not circular. You may see some videos and such showing it circular. I don't think it's in a perfectly circular orbit. There are very few of those. It's about 4 times the distance from the Earth to the Sun as from Buddy to the outer perimeter of Betelgeuse. The orbital period is about 6 years. So it goes into an elliptical orbit that duration is about 6 years. And the elongations, the greatest elongation is one of the 2 elongations. That's where the ellipse curves back, and we'll show that in the next slide. So during greatest elongation, when Buddy is far enough away from Betelgeuse, we can use a technique called speckle imaging to pull out the Buddy star from the images of Betelgeuse, and that's what you see here. It has an unofficial name identified by its confirmation team as Suara. It's kind of an inside joke as to what that means versus Betelgeuse. It doesn't have an official name yet, so until he gets an official name, I'll just refer to his little buddy. It's often wondered why Betelgeuse hasn't gone supernova yet. I postulate, haven't seen it from anybody else yet, but I'll postulate that the reason why Betelgeuse has not yet gone supernova is Buddy. So you might have heard of a stellar nova, which is not the same as a supernova. T Corona Borealis is one of those novas in waiting. For the last 2 years, they've been saying, any day now, any day now. My predictions, it's going to be in 2026, maybe towards the latter half of the year, but that's just my prediction. And the picture you hear is an artist rendering, and it shows a white dwarf star drawing gas, mostly hydrogen, off of a red supergiant. So this would be the opposite to what's going on with Betelgeuse. The white dwarf is sucking gas off the larger red supergiant star, and it's creating a shell on the outside of the white dwarf. And when the shell gets dense enough and the temperature gets high enough, it triggers nuclear fusion, and that's the stellar nova. It will blow off that shell, blow off a little bit of the giant red star, and then it will go back to normal, which normal means it's going to be sucking gas off the red giant again. I think something akin to this is what's going on with Betelgeuse, but in the opposite direction. So here's kind of my postulation, my feeding postulation. They refer to the white dwarf and a white dwarf red giant as a vampire star because it's robbing gas from the giant star. This, I think, is the other way around. The orbit of Betelgeuse's buddy, the protostar, is such that it will swing by Betelgeuse every 3 years. And as it swings in that direction, it actually slows down a bit before it accelerates to go through the loop at the bottom, higher speed, kind of a roller coaster thing. And the 2 places where you see the orange arrows are kind of the refueling stops. So as the protostar gets closer to Betelgeuse, but is not moving at its maximum velocity, it gives Betelgeuse time to suck away loose gas and dust from its companion star. And as it does this every 6 years, it can be doing this quite often, and the protostar is still there. It's not robbing it completely on a single pass. It's going by just fast enough, and it's got just enough size that it will do like a little filling station hop and re-energize Betelgeuse a little bit. And so in November of 2027 is the next time that the companion star will be at its greatest elongation, where we can see it again. And maybe if we measure it again, we might notice that its mass changed a little bit, because as it draws off the gas and dust from the protostar, its mass will change, which means its orbit will change, because the orbits are based upon gravitational influences between the protostar and Betelgeuse. So November 2027, they'll do another examination when they can see it independent of Betelgeuse. But if you look back to 2024, when Betelgeuse started exhibiting this thing called roiling, that's where the shape of Betelgeuse kind of went from more spherical to more blobby. And it looked like parts of it were not really attached to it, and they thought it was going to blow off a piece of Betelgeuse. And I think it's quite the opposite. I think in 2024, Betelgeuse robbed a chunk of stuff off of Buddy, and it hadn't quite absorbed it yet. So it's just on its way into Betelgeuse as a blob. And I think this is maybe the roiling effect that they're seeing, and why sometimes there's denser material on the outside of Betelgeuse in certain spots. And that's where Buddy has done a loop through. So Betelgeuse is a red supergiant in the constellation Orion. It's nearing the end of its life, supposedly going supernova anytime now. It's been confirmed that Betelgeuse has a little Buddy star orbiting it. Gravitationally feeding Betelgeuse, Buddy is still a protostar because it hasn't collected enough gas and dust to switch on nuclear fusion. That's why it's a protostar. So much like a white dwarf robs from a nearby star and then goes nova, I think Buddy is periodically topping off Betelgeuse's fuel supply every time it does the closest approach. And maybe this is why Betelgeuse hasn't gone supernova yet. It might also be an explanation why Betelgeuse exhibits these roiling gas density changes. But I have yet to see any professional observing teams do what I just did, which was connect the dots and come away with this postulation that maybe Buddy's helping Betelgeuse to not go nova yet. Given that Betelgeuse is about 500 light years away, even if it has already gone supernova, we wouldn't know it yet. When it does go supernova, Buddy being a protostar and just being a loosely held ball of gas and dust, the shockwave force of Betelgeuse going supernova is likely to say goodbye to Buddy. If it has gone nova, we won't know it yet because the updated photons haven't reached Earth. So there's information on Betelgeuse, NASA's confirmation of Betelgeuse's little buddy, and a bunch of videos, Anton Petrov, Exoscience, Fraser Cain, and Territory, all talking about this protostar that's been discovered as orbiting Betelgeuse. And if you forget what a stellar nova is, how novas work, and how vampire stars work, and then how a supernova is different and works. So how many had heard of Betelgeuse's little buddy this week?
Well, it's the first time I hear it now.
Okay.
Oh, I heard it this morning.
Like I said, it's been all the rage this week on the YouTube channels. And I don't think it was because of NASA's confirmation of the discovery of it. I think it had more to do with, look what's been hiding all this time. And we just spotted it. So I think it's the skulking espionage of finding what we thought was there, but had no confirmation that it was there. But I like I said, I was the first one that went, maybe that's why Betelgeuse hasn't gone bang yet. It's occasionally getting refueling depot stops from Buddy, but haven't seen anybody else throwing that out there.
It's appearing on me, so.
Well, it's not a theory because I don't come with any mathematical predictions or orbital simulations. It's just a postulation that, well, if there is this protostar that's orbiting Betelgeuse, then it has a period of 6 years. And we've seen Betelgeuse going through these roiling events multiple times over the last few years, maybe every 3 years, one of these roiling event occurs because it gets a little filler-upper from Buddy and has to take time to digest it all before, because Buddy's going to go zipping through. Any other comments or questions before I stop recording? There, nothing.